Hey there, Mustangs. Welcome to Mustangs on the Mic, your go-to podcast for all things happening in our Ingleside ISD school community. This podcast is your backstage pass to everything that makes our school so special. Each episode will bring you exclusive interviews, insightful discussions, and entertaining segments that showcase the diverse talents and voices within our school. So grab your headphones, tune in, and join us as we get ready to be informed, inspired, and entertained.
Good afternoon, Ingleside Mustang family. This is Scott Kilgore, your superintendent, and we would like to welcome all of you to our first ever Mustangs on the Mic podcast. Today, we have a special group of young men coming to us from Ingleside High School. This is our robotics team who just competed in their first year of competition and actually placed fourth at the regional competition. They did an outstanding job this year. And we want to take the time today to talk to them about their experience with robotics this year, what they learned, some of the exciting moments that they had during the competition season, and what they look forward to doing in the future with this program. Today, we have a lot of special guests. We have Mr. Jacob Kelly. We have Brandon Kelly. We have Brandon Behringer, Asher Alanis, Camden Dunleavy, Abel Garcia, and Mrs. Spears, who is their coach. So, guys and Mrs. Spears, welcome to our first podcast. We're really excited for y'all to be here. This is really, really impressive what y'all were able to do this year with robotics. Being the first year that Ingleside ISD has ever had a robotics team, and then y'all go out there and you go against more experienced squads, schools that have been doing this for a while. And not only did you compete, but you also competed well and you won a lot of recognition. So, hats off to y'all. We're very, very proud of you. And so what we're going to do today is we're just going to kind of talk about your experience. So for our listeners who may not know anything about robotics, give us kind of a description of what it is and what part of being on the robotics team is like.
So first what we did was we got everyone into the robotics room, and we separated them into little groups. So we're going to have the coders, the builders, and then the people that did the portfolio, engineering notebook, and stuff like that. And then we went through the rules and stuff like that. We went through every single rule that way, and every single, the qualifications to have in robot, the limits. So I went over those, and that was the first steps we did. We had also social media, which I don't think we did that.
About the robot.
We lost a couple kids because they liked the idea of being a part of the robotics program, but they didn't want to do the work. So everyone in the coding, I was the only one left that was actually there working on it. So I had to learn it all by myself. I didn't have anyone working with me. But then everyone that's here with us today, they stepped up in the tournaments, building the robot, everything like that. Hats off to them. They stepped up. They were able to work on the robot and just not sit there and play on the phones, because everyone that was there kind of seemed like it was like a free period. So
sounds like the teamwork. It takes a lot of team to put on a competition like this, right? So you talked about coding, and you were the only one left in coding from the original group. Set a build team. So who in here was on the build team? Okay, you two guys. And so tell me about the build team. What was y'all's role besides did you just put the robot together? Did you have a kit? Did you have certain specifications for the robot, like blueprints that you had to design? How did that go?
It was a bit of everything. We had a guideline that we could act freely on. So what I did, I had the chassis part. Practically whatever he built, he put on top of what I built. So the wheels, the frame of it, I also 3D printed everything on 3D print. And with that, we gathered around. I got my brother here, he helped me a bit, assisted me. And we just built the entire thing in at least 2 weeks.
Wow.
And
so as far as the 3D printing of the different parts and so forth, I know when we visited with y'all before the competition, as you were getting ready to leave on the bus, Mrs. Spears had said that y'all had extra parts. And so what was y'all's plan? I know it's our first year of competing. What was your plan as far as spare parts? Did you have like 2 of everything or 3 of everything or a lot of everything? How did y'all go about
I think it's randomized. We had like we had a lot of certain things, but then we had like very limited of like wheel axles, and we had like screws. So sometimes it was kind of like what we built up from ordering different things, but otherwise we were limited on like stuff we had made.
So kind of what happened, how we had extra supplies, was we started off with one kind of design of a robot. And so we had a chassis, we had different wheels, we had different types of screws, different kinds of nuts, and we built that robot. And so we were looking at other like chassis and stuff like that. So I found a chassis that I would want it better because it had more holes to put the screws in because the chassis are metal. So it had more holes to put the screws in. So we went out and got that. So all of our extra parts was just because we replaced stuff, or we just ran out and we had to get it in a bundle. That's the main reason we had so many extra parts, was just we had to buy a good amount.
Right.
But that's just like only this year. Of course, you're going to buy parts in the following years. Mm-hmm. But since it's our first year, we spent a lot of money on extra parts and just figuring out how to build a robot and how we want.
Right. So it's kind of a trial by error, right?
Yes.
I mean, first year, you're kind of learning how things work, and then you have to adjust. And, that's one thing that makes your accomplishments even more impressive is, your first year, not to say y'all didn't know what you're doing, because you did, because of how well you competed, but the fact that you were able to adjust on the fly and learn different things and make sure that you were as prepared as what you were for that competition.
What they're not saying is we built a robot. We went to competition in October, realized that our robot wasn't quite what we wanted when we looked at everybody else's. It was comparable, but it wasn't what we wanted. So we did more research. We realized we needed a whole hexagonal system to prevent slipping of things off the axles because we were losing wheels or we were losing this. And so we bought a whole new hexagonal system. And when he says the build takes 2 weeks, the build took 2 weeks after every single meet. So we went to October, came back, rebuilt the robot. Went in November, came back, rebuilt the robot. So it was like after every single match, we would come back and we would rebuild or add another layer or another step to be able to get us further.
And as we talk about that, Mrs. Spears and to the rest of you guys, part of engineering is designing and then looking at your design and testing your design and then figuring out what can be improved, right? And so it sounds like after every competition, y'all were finding little things that you could improve on for the next competition. I think that, my question to y'all, do you feel like that helps you in the future is whether you continue with this program or you transition into engineering or robotics in the future? Do you feel like that was a good learning experience for you?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. So we had coding, we had building. What was one of the other aspects of the team? Because I know y'all said you kind of split up in different groups. Do I have anybody from another group?
We also have the portfolio.
Okay, the portfolio. So tell me a little bit about the portfolio.
I didn't personally work on it, but
was anybody in your part of the portfolio? No.
Also, Valeria. We did have one girl on our team, and Valeria actually spent a lot of evenings working on the portfolio and putting it together. It is a beast. I think it's a 15-page portfolio, and it shows everything about your team. And so you have to have a portfolio regardless of anything.
Cool. So sounds like it's a pretty detailed project. And, I know you guys spend a lot of work and a lot of time and effort. So kind of tell me about like what a normal week working on this team was like. Was it after school? Was it in the morning? Was it certain hours? Was it during the day, during your period, your advisory period? How did y'all manage that time with other things that you do as a student here at Ingleside?
So all of us have, except for Jacob, all of us have Miss Spears as our engineering teacher. So during that engineering class, when we got all of our work done, she would allow us to go to the robotics room, work on the robot. I would leave like my math classes and stuff like that because I'd finish my work, leave and go work on the robot. And then before tournaments, we always were stressing on something every single time. We had something we needed a little bit more time. So there was a lot of times right before the tournaments that we stayed another 3-4 hours after school and just worked on it.
One main night we stayed till like 8.
Yeah, it was like 8 or 9 o'clock we stayed till. It was a fun time.
So, but that's one of those things that when you're passionate about something, you want to do well, you're going to put in the time and the effort. Right? And it sounds like that time, that effort that you put in paid off with what your ultimate result was. So, congratulations to you guys. Now, one of the things about the robotics team is you got to travel a little bit for competition.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the traveling and what was that like, and tell us about all that you had in the competition traveling.
The travel far was on Memorial was just 15 minutes away because it was Corpus, and then San Antonio, which was this last one, which was the one we traveled a lot and had a lot.
Yeah.
So y'all had a good time then. Huh?
Oh yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what for people that haven't been to a robotics competition. If I'm brand new and I'm walking in, I've never seen the event before. Kind of describe to me what it's like when I walk into that. Is it in a gymnasium? Is it an auditorium?
It's anywhere. Yeah, it's really anywhere in the school that they can have it. So pits can be classrooms or it can be just tables in a cafeteria.
They were mainly in a gym.
Yeah, but
What is a pit?
Okay, a pit is
it's a square area. It's a square thing built on a glass, and then on the inside it has the styrofoam.
That's the playing field. The pit is where we go and work on the robot. So we in the racing, they have the pits. So when people come into pit stop, that's basically what we do. We just come in, work on the robot, because it's 5-10 minutes, then it's back out, ready to do another game. So if you were to go to a robotics meet, as a spectator, it would be fun. You get to see all the kids being stressed, and you get to be glad that you're not stressed on everything.
You are clueless.
Yeah.
So when you go to the competition, you have your pit area where you're working on your robot. And you're making adjustments, kind of like what you would see in racing. When you go to the game area, do you know what the tasks or the games are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each year they switch it out.
Okay.
They switch the theme. So this year it was art. So we had a backdrop, a backstage, a trust,
Stage.
yeah, and then how you scored was pushing pixels, and they were supposed to look like just hexagons, and you push them to the backstage, and then you can make it so your robot picks it up and puts it on the backdrop. And then there is, so early on in the game, there's autonomous. So that's putting the pixels next to props or putting them next to the backdrop.
Or parking the back.
Or parking the backstage. And then there's the middle game where it's just get all the pixels you can. And then the end game is you have a drone, which is just a paper airplane. And you set up a paper airplane launcher. And you'll launch it over the truss and over it's like a foot tall wall. That's the outside. Get over both of those. And the first 2 feet is 30 points. And then next 2 feet is 20 points. Next 2 feet is 10 points. But after that, you get no points. You can do that and hang, which is 30 points. Or you can just park in the back.
Hanging's 20 points.
Those 20 points?
Yeah,
20 points.
Parking was 5.
Yeah. So when you're at the competition, are you getting to watch other teams perform as well? This is also, do you get ideas from them?
Yes.
As the competition's going on?
But so usually we send in one person to either go talk to the other teams and sometimes watch their games, because all the time we're not playing. We're prepared for the next game because it's such little time.
Right.
They don't give us enough time to go work on the robot and stuff like that. So there'll be times where it breaks during a game. We bring it back. We try to figure out what's wrong with it. We can't figure out what's wrong with it. We just hope that it doesn't happen again. Inevitably, it does happen again. But that's what happens every single time after each game.
So who was the scout? Because I already...
So me and Ashton. So Ashton was a scout.
The networker.
Okay. So you were networking with other teams. Now, one of the things that, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, when you went to one of the competitions, we actually advanced to this competition because you were partnered up with another team. Is that right?
Yeah, no. The reason we advanced this competition was because we had an interview with with two different judges, and they really liked how we handled the interview and what our team was like and how we're high spirited compared to all the other teams. We're like joyful to be around. So
it was like a judge's pick.
Yeah, and
we were the judges
based on your collaboration as a team and your personality.
8 awards that moved people up, and then only 2. Well, no, it'll be like 4 teams moved based on their score. So a lot of it is being really good at interviews. That's the main point of this. Is not always your robot being the best, is being able to interview well. If your robot's also good, that helps as well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get the judges vote, then you can still move on because your robot's good.
So Asher needs to say why it's important to network.
Oh, so you can go around and get parts you need. If your robot just broke down and you're missing bolts or something like that, you can go to a different team and just ask for whatever they have, or you can just they also provide input on what you could be doing wrong and what you could be doing like better. So they kind of helped us out by like giving us advice in turn for more advice from us.
So it sounds like kind of like in real life, you network with people, and that can help you, and then you can help them, and that's how good teams work. They network with good people, and they surround themselves and get advice and make things better.
But you also have to strategize because you're randomly selected to team up with one of those other teams. So you're strategizing to say, okay, well, what can your robot do? This is what ours can do. So you put a game plan together. So when you go out on the field, you get the highest score you can get because you're using both strengths.
Yeah. Oh, so you're actually working with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I tried to set up as best as possible, was make it so no matter what the other team has, we are able to operate in the same level, the same capacity 100% of the time. There was only like one way that other teams set up their robot that it would mess up ours, which happened twice in this last meet, but all the other meets never happened. So it was really weird how they set up their robot and it messed up ours. So that was just the main point of the teams just trying to work together, which I like about the robotics program and stuff like that. Is it's kind of preparing people for the real world in a business where all it is a lot of communication.
And that's exactly right. One thing that here in Ingleside that we really want to prepare our students like yourselves for is getting out in the world, and whether you go into a career, or you go into the military, or you go into college, preparing you with those skills necessary to be successful. And it sounds like you guys have done a great job of that. We're really excited about our robotics program. So kind of wrapping up our talk on robotics today, what's the future like for Ingleside Robotics? I know we got a couple of seniors in here. We have all of y'all said you're coming back. Are you looking to expand the team? Have y'all reached out to other people, or are other people starting to get interested in our robotics that you know of right now?
Yeah. So Miss Spears, Abel, and I recently, yesterday, we went to the middle school and talked to their STEM program kids, and we tried to talk that into coming up and being a part of the robotics program next year, and when they come up to high school. So it was 7th and 8th graders we were talking to, and then they have an engineering it's event going on soon, and they invited us to come out to the engineering event, show off our robot, and try to convince people to come into the robotics team. So we're doing that, and also even down in the elementary school, we have FTC Lego, which they have not competed yet, but it's kind of the same thing we're doing. Instead of just a 18-inch by 18-inch robot, they're doing just Legos.
So are y'all involved with the other school? Like you said, y'all went down to the middle school, and I know that they have a STEM program where they're working with robots. sounds like you know about the Legos competition there at our GJM elementary school. Is that what y'all's plan is to start kind of building the program? Y'all are kind of the trailblazers if you think about it.
Recently, so this year we got to reach out to mentors and have engineers teach us. And so now after this year, knowing how the engineers taught us, now we can go down to the middle school, go down to the elementary school and how to mentor them. So that could be our role moving on forward with helping out the elementary school, the middle school. It's just being mentored.
Encouraged to do that with the first organization. They encourage the high school teams to go down and make sure you have a good pipeline for the amount of people coming into the robotics.
Well, that is really cool. You guys are kind of laying the foundation. We'll see, talking engineering terms, right? You're laying that foundation for our future success with robotics. And, you know, we're really, really excited about not only what y'all accomplished this year, but where this program is going. So, you know, as we're kind of wrapping this up, is there anybody that would like to say anything else about the robotics program this year, what you learned, you know, anything that you'd like to shout out to our podcast community here?
Can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I shout out Drew Penland, T. Baker Smith, and Kamoris for all the help and all the information of helping us. So I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. And without y'all foundation and y'all's dedication to us, we probably wouldn't have gone this far. So I appreciate it, and we all do.
We really like to thank the people and our industry partners like Chemours who have made this program possible here in Ingleside. And we want to really recognize them not only for their contributions this year, but in future years, because like you said, they've really helped get this off the ground and, you know, made y'all's success possible. So we really like to thank you guys for being on our initial podcast. Some things that we like to do as we wrap up our podcast here, Mustangs on the Mic. We want to give some shout outs to some very important individuals here in Ingleside. First one is our Family Matters Employee of the Month, which is Mrs. Kimberly Williams. Mrs. Williams is the school nurse at GJM Elementary, and she was recently chosen as our Family Matters Award winner for the month of February. Congratulations, Miss Williams. You do a fantastic job with all of our students at GJM, looking out for them and making sure that they are healthy. Also, we would like to give a shout out to our school resource officers. February 15th was thank you to our School Resource Officers Day. They've done a great job of keeping our schools safe and working with our school community to make sure that all of our students are safe while they are at school. And we'd also like to congratulate our boys basketball team who recently qualified for the high school basketball playoffs. We are looking forward to watching them play in the first round of the playoffs next week. So with that being said, we are going to wrap up our first ever Mustangs on the Mic. We want to really thank our robotics team for coming in and joining us today. I know that I personally have learned more about robotics in the last few minutes than I ever knew. And it's really exciting to see where you guys were at the beginning of the year with this program to where you are now. And, you know, as a district of champions, like we like to call ourselves here in Ingleside, you guys are a perfect example of that. Your hard work, your dedication to what you did has really made our robotics program well known in the area, and we look forward to continued success here. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Mrs. Spears, for everything you've done for this program, and we're very, very proud of you. All right, Mustang on the Mic podcast family, we'd like to thank you for joining us today for our initial podcast with our robotics team from Ingleside High School. Those guys did a tremendous job this year, and we're really proud of them, from starting a program from scratch to ultimately competing at the regional competition and placing fourth. What an amazing job by those young men. So one of the things we like to do with this podcast is we would like your feedback on what you think as far as future guests. What would you like to know about our Mustang family? What would you like to know that is going on in our Ingleside ISD community? Please submit any feedback you have. You can find that on our website. If you go under menu, departments, and find the communications tab, there is a link where you can fill it out and let us know what you think and what you'd like for us to talk about in future podcasts. We are here to engage with you in our community. We want to highlight all of the good things that are happening throughout our district. So we would like you to subscribe and share our podcast. because Mustangs on the Mic is here to stay, and we are so excited for the future of Ingleside. Thank you for joining us.
All right, Mustangs, that's been your minute with us here on Mustangs on the Mic. You heard it from us here first. We're so happy to be sharing our students, staff, and celebrations with you. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day.